You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming, so if you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of the Alternative Path in Fell. So guys, please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes. Let me entertain you, and let's jump right in. Alarm changer up, and let's go. Alright. They linger a bit, but I find myself relaxing. Hey, Sebastian, hit us with the usual. Ooh. A Dal sheep from behind the bar makes his way to us. Ooh, yeah, handsome boy. He's around my height, but also twice as jacked, but wool and skin somewhat similar to Mack's. What voice should I do for Sebastian? Let me think. Hardly a usual when you haven't had it in 7 years, eh? Yet you remember it all the same, yeah? Of course I do. Blue shot and honey whiff and a few drops of mountain shimmer. Heh, that's the one. Before I can even comprehend the foreign term spoken just now, the large sheep turns his back on us, selecting a bottle from the second highest shelf as well as a few smaller bottles in the lower ones. Though his backside obscures most of it, I can tell he's unfastening them and adding differing amounts to each glass in front of him, and moving within an imaginary rhythm only he can hear. Oh, hello, thumbnail. Once he's finished, Sebastian turns to us proudly, both glasses filled, though Mack's is much larger. There's a blood orange tinge to the drink that looks both appetizing and creepy? The aroma itself is sweet under my nose, though something else is there I can't quite place. It must be the base scent. Alcohol on its own has never been the best-smelling substance. Not that I've had too many opportunities to have a whiff. Last time I did was with... I grasp the glass immediately and go to take a sip. Before the liquid can grace my lips, a black hand stops its trajectory. That eager to start, huh? Hold on just a moment. You'll have the rest of your life for that. Duh, don't tease him too much, Mackie. Remember my first time trying this stuff. Was all too eager to lose my dinner before 10 p.m. Succeeded, too. It's charming as ever, Sabs. Mind counting us off? Counting us off? Of course. Gotta take the first sip together. Did so with my dad. Only right that I do so with my son as well. With his son. I blinked a few times to keep the tears back. He's never treated me as anything less than his boy. That's one thing that's never changed. All right. Let's do this. No more mushy talk. My drinks deserve drinking. He raises his hand for our mark, and we raise our mugs. To adulthood! To adulthood! 3, 2, 1, go! Lifting the mug up to my lips, my tongue is met with a strong, acrid taste akin to only what I assumed liquor must taste like. Liquor. It slowly creeps its way down my throat and lights a fire into my stomach, with a hint of honey. My reflex to cough takes over all the other senses, and I hack whatever doesn't go down my throat, which isn't much. The sweet aftertaste lingers while the heat in my stomach persists. I can feel my face growing hot from embarrassment. I don't know exactly what I expected alcohol to taste like, but definitely not like that. Not bad for your first swig, eh? Yeah, not too shabby, kiddo. This old man spat up his entire drink his first time. Besides, I glance over at Mack to see he's got quite the sour expression. Though he gulps down his drink without trouble, the grimace on his face is as clear as day. You gotta take your drink slow. Don't want you getting too tipsy from the get-out, right? He raises his eyebrow and studies me for a moment before continuing. You alright? Yeah. Maybe I just had too much at once. You know, you're one to talk when you look like you just ate an unripened apple. I stick my tongue out at him and he chuckles sheepishly in response. Ha! Perhaps I should slow my own roll down. Not as iron-stomached as I used to be. Those were the days, weren't they, Mackie? Used to come down every weekend, just down at Kegsworth, you and Jerry. Max shifts a bit in his seat as Sebastian starts absent-mindedly cleaning a few mugs. That was a different time. We didn't have little hellions running around causing trouble just yet. Mac raises an eyebrow at me, to which I shrink away on instinct. Hey, don't look at me. Hey, don't look at me. Arrow was the one always roping me into whatever he laser focused on for the week. Remember he wanted to be a wilderness explorer? A deeply annoyed exhale escapes my muzzle at this. I remember, Dad. I definitely got the exploring bit down. Didn't master how to return home, though. Always has been directionally challenged. Mac chuckles to himself and takes his own advice by taking just a sip of his drink at this time. That day isn't easy to forget. We just kept walking and walking with no clue as to where we were headed. Come time for us to go back, we realized we didn't know the way. Do you know the way? Our parents had to find us. Mac was so beside himself when he found me, I'd never seen him so upset. It was months before we were allowed by ourselves again, and almost immediately Arrow wanted to explore like he hadn't learned his lesson. He's always been like that, eager to see what's beyond our borders. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that he didn't grow out of it. And just like that, my chest tightens up again. I push away the thought and take another sip of the awful-tasting substance. It roughly tastes the same, but this time I'm more prepared for it. Once more, the strong taste of liquor stings at my tongue, and my face scrunches up as if it'll somehow relieve the awful feeling as it goes down my throat. Huh, not as bad as before. Oh, right, got something else for you. Meant to give it to you earlier, but it slipped my mind. Was this before or after you made your delivery boy for the day? Made me. Okay. I raise an eyebrow at him, to which he simply rolls his eyes and turns to pick something up from the floor by his hooves. In his hands is a small-sized box that he holds out to me. When I look to him, he only nods in response. I take the box gingerly into my paws, feeling a slight weight to it as I pull it closer to me. With care, I set it down on the bar in front of me and remove the small white ribbon that sits atop the red box. As I slide it off the lid, excitement rushes to my chest when I lay eyes upon the box's contents. Inside, sitting in a metal casing, are charcoals of different sizes and shapes lined up from the smallest to largest, each with a fine tip. Under them is a good-sized eraser as well as a sharpener for when the tips get dulled. Saw you were getting low the other day and knew you'd need new ones sooner rather than later. Before he can finish, I'm already leaning over to give him half a hug, though I note to give him a full one later. Ha! Happy you like it, Wesley. I give him an affectionate nuzzle on the cheek while he's within reach, grinning from ear to ear from beneath my mask. My sketching has gone down a bit thanks to my depleting charcoal supply, only using it when I really wanted to recreate something I'd seen. I love it! I couldn't have asked for anything better! A small blush appears on his face, that I pretend not to notice for now, more content in sharing this moment with him. Meant to give you something else as well, but it isn't quite ready yet. Don't worry about it. You've done enough already. Thank you. Matt gives me a hearty chuckle, finally releasing me so I can settle back into my seat. If this is more than enough, then I can't wait till you see how you'll react to what I've got in mind. You mind telling me what this other thing is? Knowing the answer already, I'm not surprised when he smirks and shakes his head. Wouldn't be much of a surprise if I gave up the goods right away, now would it? Can I get a hint? There's a hopeful look in my gaze that he contemplates. After a few moments, he seems to come up with something. It smells incredibly nice. I deflate a little at this and narrow my eyes at him. What kind of a hint is that? Is it soap? Are you trying to tell me I need a bath? Mack places a hand on my head, giving any free head for a ruffle around to which I stubbornly push away. I mean, I wouldn't object to you taking one. Hey, watch it there, old man! Matt guffaws once more and playfully nudges at me with his elbow, which my eyebrow twitches at. I gently punch him in the shoulder, rolling my eyes in tandem as he mocks pain, gripping his arm as if I had actually hurt him. Ah, I surrender! He chuckles out, continuing to feign a look of discomfort. I chuckle too at the countless times I've done this previously when trying to get back at him. A warm smile crosses my muzzle that he returns with one of his own. Can't thank you enough, Dad. I really do appreciate it. Hey, it's not every day you become an adult. I set the lid back over the box and retie the bow for safekeeping. Once I get home, I can put it under the bed, next to... I take another sip of the alcohol, this time the bitter taste not fazing me very much due to my tongue becoming noticeably numb. Now that I think about it, my vision is becoming a bit hazy around the corners. Have I already had too much? Looking in the glass, I can see that it still looks almost full. That can't be right. Oh man, you definitely can't handle your liquor yet. You're totally a lightweight. Without a second thought, I down more of the beverage to chase away the thought before I can attribute it to the goat it belongs to. My stomach burns a little in protest, but I ignore it. The haze in my eyes gets thicker and I feel myself sway the slightest bit. Keeping steady becomes a bit of a mental exercise. Feeling eyes on me, I glance over to Mack to see him side-eyeing me with a look of caution. When our eyes meet, he averts his and takes another sip as well. He wants to say something, probably about my increasing pace. I pretend not to see his wandering gaze and try to focus on whatever it is Sebastian is doing. I'm kind of surprised at myself, if I'm honest. With the room swaying more and more, I know I should slow my roll, too, but the desire to quench my anxieties is too enticing. Before I know it, my paw is reaching for the mug to wash down the increasing tug in my chest. So are you buzzed enough to tell me what's on your mind? Everything in me freezes up at once, and I can feel myself coming back to reality despite the growing haze. Shit. Max sighs to himself, reaching a hand out to stroke my back, a soothing, rhythmic gesture that helps me focus. You've been acting odd since you walked in, Wes. Odder than usual. Most can't tell the difference, but I'm your old man, remember? I think it's past Mac. He's always had a sixth sense about what's going on with me. I've never been good at hiding things from him, even my nightmares. But what can I tell him? If I tell the truth, I'd be selling my best friend out. Despite not wanting to go, despite not wanting him to go, I can't just betray him like that. I also can't lie to Mack. Much as I hate to admit it, Ash was half right about my lying. I'm not very good at it, even with this mask. Wes, you know by now that you can tell me anything. Whatever's bothering you, we can figure it out, son. He got me there. The always here for you card is quite formidable, because it's true. He stares into my eyes with his warm fatherly gaze that always cuts right through whatever walls I try to put up. It's a stare that lets me know I don't need to hide whatever it is I'm trying to hold desperately close to my chest. He'll listen to whatever I have to say. Arrow's leaving Dewhurst tonight. The older Ram's eyebrows raised in mild surprise, then returned to a neutral expression. His eyes softened to an understanding gaze. This moment is the one that's been a long time coming. What do you mean? You knew what he was planning on leaving? I had a hunch that he wanted to fly the coop eventually. Why didn't you say anything? Maybe we could have done something. What was I going to say, son? You know how Arrow is. Once that kid makes his mind up about something, there's no stopping him, just like his dad. We still could have tried. Maybe he's leaving because he feels like there isn't anything for him. Maybe I didn't tell him enough how much he matters to me. I spent so much of my time MIA from the world that I somehow missed this. Even Mack knew this was coming. What kind of a friend am I? 2 hands placed themselves firmly on my shoulders and turned me to face the owner. Hey, take it easy on yourself. This isn't anything you did. Arrow's always been a free spirit, hasn't he? I look away from him and towards my feet. I know he's right. Arrow has never quite been like anyone else. While most in Dewhurst are content with their home life, he's looked beyond it, asking visitors about the outside world, having a huge interest in the capital, and taking every chance he can to go beyond the town. It was his desire for something different that sparked his interest in me. It's no secret that I don't look like anyone here, with or without my mask. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you, but I had a feeling you wouldn't take it well. His father... Wait, Mr. Jones already knows too? Max shifts a bit in his seat at that revelation. A parent knows when their child wants to leave the nest. It was all Jerry could talk about when he stopped by earlier. Oh, right, their trip to Port Haven. Come to think of it, he was a bit stiff today when I went to see him. Not that that matters now. My ears lowered to the back of my head. I don't know what to do, Dad. I don't want him to go anywhere. I don't want my friend to leave Dewhurst. My chest threatens to squeeze the heart within to death, and my eyes sting out of growing frustration more than sorrow. Wesley. I don't answer him, fully allowing myself to sink into the negative emotions I've tried my best not to drown in. Everything I felt on the hill comes rushing back in an overwhelming wave of hopelessness and uncertainty. Soon it's all I can feel as it stifles my lungs, stealing my every breath. There's nothing. No one. I can't find my way out of the dark. It's always like this. Wesley, look at me. With a firm yet gentle shake, he jolts me back into reality with his hands, his eyes hard as stone as he gazes into mine. I've only ever seen his eyes like that one other time before, which snaps me back into focus. You want him to stay? You go tell him to stay. I stare at him for a moment before I shake my head. Why would he... You're so focused on why he's leaving that you haven't asked why he stayed. I tilt my head in confusion, to which he huffs a frustrated sigh. He told you, Wes. No one else. To him you were worth waiting for. If anyone can convince him to stay, it's you. Silence passes between the both of us. I stare at him with wide eyes as realization dawns on me like a bolt of lightning. He told me. He could have left at any time before I left my attic, but he didn't. He waited. God, Wes, you're so dumb. No wonder he asked you to come with. If I'm enough to keep him waiting, then maybe I'm enough to get him to stay. Ooh, excuse me. I rise to my feet with a new sense of determination in my chest and reach under my mask to wipe away any stray tears. What should I say? Max smiles down at me with a warm look returning to his eyes. Say what you're feeling and say it from the heart. You can't go wrong if you're true to yourself like always. Okay, right, okay. See you after? Always. Just don't take all night, all right? Your old man's already feeling a blackout coming on. Though he hides it well, he's slightly swaying in his seat, and a blush is setting in under his black-wooled cheeks. Staying steady for my sake. Instead of teasing him over it, I lean in to give him one more big squeeze, which he returns with an almost rib-crushing one of his own that I can only blame the booze on. Oof! Thanks, Dad! Happy birthday, son, and good luck! With that, we release each other, and I nod my head in thanks before making my way out of the community center. The room sways as if it were on choppy waters, and I bump into several tables, but still manage to stumble my way out without incident. Cool air stings at my eyes when I emerge from the community center as a steady breeze blows through me, only blunted by my patched-up sweater. Though everything is hazy and I feel dangerously close to falling over with each step, my determination keeps my stride steady enough for me to continue forward. Dimming street lamps are my only guide to the docks ahead, other than the crash of waves along the shoreline. I still have time to convince Arrow to stay. I won't waste it feeling sorry for myself. As the wind whips through my head I see a figure off in the distance. Arrow? But the docks are a bit further than this. Getting closer, the figure takes a more solid shape I'm familiar with. When they turn to see me, I'm caught off guard and nearly run into them. No, Ash. Ash stares at me in mild surprise, while her white head wool shimmers under the lamplight. I stumble to a stop just in front of her and feel myself falling back only to be caught by her grasping paw tight to keep me steady. Thanks. She nods and releases my paw when I stabilize myself. Wes, what are you doing out so late? She says this as though a mother has just caught her child sneaking out. Feeling snarky, I feel compelled to ask her the same thing. You're out this late too, aren't you? Her eyes get a little distant at this, and she clutches her arm as though making sure it's still with her. For a moment, it's like I blink a few times and watch her sway, only to realize it was actually me who was swaying. What was that? What was in that drink? I guess I'm looking for my father. He's gone missing. Huh? Do you mean he didn't come home? No, he did. It's just I told him about the bushels your dad wanted, and he seemed a little more than flustered about something. There was alcohol in his breath, and he was complaining about... She stops her line of thought, as though noticing me for the first time. We don't say anything for a few moments, but it's clear what it was about. I sigh, choosing not to push that subject. It's something I'm used to, and something that Ash doesn't need to be given added grief about. She tries real hard. 1 second, guys. Okay, here we go. Anyways, once he had his moment, he stormed out into the night. I would have followed, but have you seen him? Besides an hour or so ago at the community center, no, I haven't. I was actually on my way to... The last few words are caught at my throat and my body goes tense. Now it's my turn to stop talking. No one needs to know I have business at the docks. With luck, I can get Arrow to come back without an entire scene. If not, well... No, can't think like that. I'm making him stay home. Head home. Yeah, heading home. Been a long birthday and I need a rest. Ash raises her eyebrow at me in my sudden change of tone and demeanor. I do my best to keep eye contact, only for them to betray me by sliding to look at the lamp behind her. Even with that mask, you're still the worst liar in Dewhurst. I feel my tail snap up in shock, which she simply laughs at in response. I sort of laugh with her, only in spite of the situation. Look, Wes, I don't care what you've got going on right now. To be honest, I could smell the alcohol before I could see you. Not to mention you're swaying more than the ships. The urge to argue comes to mind, but seeing as I feel like I'm looking at her through a kaleidoscope, I have a feeling she's the more right-minded one. Yeah, I'm a bit out there right now, sorry. Her look softens as she lets out a long, tired breath. Well, when you come back to it, remember to have some water so you don't dehydrate yourself. Bad enough having a hungover father. Can do. Anyways, I gotta go. I hope you find your dad soon. Don't worry too much about it. This talk actually gave me some time to think about where he could be. There are only so many places you can go in Dewhurst, after all. You can definitely rule out the library. Make sure you give him an earful when you find him. Oh, I plan to do more than that, Wes. He's intruding on some much-needed beauty rest. Now then, you have a good night. She waves me off as I walk past her, and I do the same. With the dock still a few ways to go, I break into a bit of a jog. My feet threaten to fumble over each other every few steps, but I'm determined to keep steady. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause it right here. Thank you all for watching. That's more content for Phil. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!